Hi, hi! My name is Ramil Sassi, and this is my review for Punch Club for the Xbox One. This review is in partnership with BigBossBattle.com, who've kindly given me their review code from developer Lazy Bear Games. My reviews are 100% my own opinion, and I'm not being paid for it. So, what is Punch Club? Have you ever wanted to know what a fighter's life is like? What it needs to be, what it wants to be, how you have to do it? Well, Punch Club is the game for you, and this is how it entails to do so. The game itself is, I would say, a management simulator. You don't actually play out the fights yourself, like say in Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. You basically train throughout the game, and then you are basically set yourself up with different techniques and skills, and you let the fights play out in the ring. So what is the premise for Punch Club? Well, your life in Punch Club starts out with a brief cutscene showing your father, who himself was a fighter. After he's inexplicably murdered, you're dropped into the present day, where you, as a carefree fighter who doesn't have much of a life for himself, has to basically build himself up. After some waltzing around town, you'll soon find a rookie fighting lead and try and make some friends, and then you work to unravel the mystery of your dad's murder. Now, as you are a no-name champ, you'll also have to work your way to the top the hard way. That means you'll basically start off with nothing in this game, and it takes everything you need and your skill to move yourself upwards. And this leads me on to the gameplay. Now, as I said, this is a fighter management system, so you'll generally spend most of your time trying to level your character up so you can then attend fights and win them and progress the story forward. Now, there are three main fighting statistics: strength, agility, and stamina. Now, high strength means you deal a lot of damage but use up a lot of energy with your moves. A high agility stat means you're accurate with your hits and dodge a lot of enemy attacks, while stamina represents the ability to take a lot of damage from foes. And this will be the meat and potatoes of the game. Your aim here is to basically raise yourself to a certain bar where then you can compete into a fight and gain an agility or an extra move. Once you've done that, you then have to raise the bar again and keep moving forward until you get further and further throughout the game. To raise your statistics, you will need to train. Now, you can go to the gym and pay for it, and that will raise your statistics a lot quicker, or you can choose your home gym in your garage at a slower rate. Now, you may think this is really easy. Well, that is not the only other items that you have to look after. Basically, you have 4 other attributes upon which you need to manage. This is health, happiness, hunger, and energy. These are quite difficult to juggle. Let's, for instance, I'll use a bit of an example. When you sleep, you lose energy and you lose hunger. So when you wake up, you get your hunger back up again, you need to eat. Now, to eat, you need to have money, and to have money, you need to work. And working loses energy and hunger. But you also need energy, hunger, and happiness at a high rate to train. So it's kind of a very complicated management system and juggling system to make sure that you've got enough of these points high enough so that you can train and keep your statistics up at the level you need. This also doesn't help that at the end of the day you lose fighting statistics, so you lose your strength, agility, and stamina at the end of the day. Not by a load, by a small amount. But if you mismanage it, you can find yourself going backwards rather than forwards. Now, when you finally do get your player to a level where you can fight, you'll watch your player and the opponent duke it out. Now, the opponents vary in style and actually are quite funny and quite characteristic. They vary on various takes, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, except it's a crocodile. Rocky Balboa, except he's slightly different. There are loads of 80 gags thrown in here as your opponents, and this was quite enjoyable to see. However, the fights themselves are actually a bit boring. After every round, which kind of lasts a few seconds, you can swap out existing moves and or for others, which is kind of the extent of your interaction. So basically all you end up doing is just watching two characters hit each other, a bit like Super Smash Bros. Now, if you do win a fight, you gain tokens, and these can be used to learn new moves. Now, aside from the vanilla balanced moves, there are 3 other fighter paths that each correspond to one of your fighting stats. The game advises you to choose one of these stats and work and level it up, rather than to be a jack of all trades. The story is progressed by winning fights and meeting new NPC characters, which in turn opens you up to more different NPC characters upon which you have to fight, and then moves you forward again to find someone else to talk to, who then opens you up to another NPC, etc, etc. But the storylines here are actually quite fun. The little conversations you have between your work colleagues, or the girlfriend you finally actually end up meeting, or even just the shop owner where you get your food, are really fun and have a good 80s feel about it. The story here is actually quite enjoyable, and it's a nice break away from what I would class as the grind day-to-day management of your character. And this is where the game slightly falls down for me. There is a variety of items to do here which can keep you interested. However, the day-to-day upkeep of your stats is absolutely mind-numbing. It's great in short bursts, but after a while it just gets way too grindy. Add to the fact that your stats decay every day, and sometimes it can just feel a cycle of just not enough energy. And this leads me on to the graphics. The 16-bit style here perfectly sits with the 90s theme and style of the game. These graphics would be at home right on the SNES, and I absolutely adore them. They are beautifully well done, and the sprites are perfect and fits well with the game's humour. This is a fantastically and beautiful little game that is clear, crisp, and really pleasing to the eye. What is one thing about this game I absolutely loved, and the little references and harken back to the 90s in these 16-bit sprites is beautiful to watch, and it kind of makes me want to go back and play some old SNES games. The sound of the game is perfectly pitched for the 90s retro feel, and I really did enjoy this. It really is beautiful, crisp, clear, and a nice subtlety in the background. One thing I will say though is that the day-to-day music can get a little bit on your nerves, and a few more tunes would have suited it better. But overall, it suits the gameplay rather well, and something that I actually quite enjoyed. And this leads me on to the rating of the game. Now, I rate games in order of avoid, rent, great purchase, and must own. My rating for this game is rent, and this is for the following reasons. I initially really liked Punch Club. The rip off the 1980s and 1990s pop culture icons was fantastic. The little cheeky storylines were brilliant to hear, and the 16-bit retro graphics worked perfectly. Then I kind of got bored of the slow progression, the endless dilemmas, the lack of fighting, the stats that just never seemed to stop, and the fact that at any point your system would punish you, i.e. you go to sleep and you'd lose stats, just got way too repetitive. There is a great game here if you can get past the grindiness to it, or if you actually do enjoy grinding in games. This is a down-to-earth management system, and if you like a management game, this will suit you perfectly. Otherwise, for those of different genres or brand new to this sort of style, I think it's going to be a little bit too much for them and a bit too grindy. Don't get me wrong, if you like grind and you like a management system, this will be very addictive, and there's enough there to keep you going back and changing and altering certain things to suit your style of play. However, as I said, I don't think this is going to be good for new people to the genre, and it will suffer because of that. The game is currently out for £9.50 or $10 US. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think of the review? Do you agree with me? Please give your thoughts now. I do like to hear what you have to say on it. Anyway, I do hope you enjoyed the review, and I'll see you again soon.